Advocating for Inclusive Education, a case study of Luca. This case demonstrates the need of inclusive education by supporting the closure of the specialized unit while maintaining Luca's social justice, opportunities, and ensuring he has a positive experience at school. Introduction. Inclusive practices are now recognized within today's modern schooling and demonstrate a commitment to the principles of human rights and social justice. In Australia, policies such as the Disability Standards for Education 2005, as well as international frameworks such as the Convention on the Rights of the Child 1989 and the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities 2006, all help support this commitment to education. In this evaluation, Luca, a fourth grader with attention deficient hyperactivity disorder (ADHD) and impaired vision, is examined. He has been recommended for placement in a separate unit inside of the school. This essay will make the case for Luca to be placed in the mainstream classroom with his twin brother Giorgio and for the unit's complete closure using a strength-based approach. Within this presentation, the following topics will be covered. 1. The significance of inclusive education in Australia and its development. A rationale for closing the unit which is influenced by social justice and human rights principles. The advantages and consequences of inclusive education for various stakeholders, and evidence-based tactics for meeting Luca's needs through differentiated practices. The importance of inclusive education in Australia. Inclusive education is based around the acknowledgement that all children have the right to access and be able to participate in education, as well as equally as their peers can. This standard is etched into the Disability Standards for Education 2005, which legally obligates schools to guarantee that students with a disability can participate and achieve equitable outcomes. The disability standards within Australia state that schools must take appropriate steps to guarantee the student's participation in the lessons or courses, just as equally as a student without disabilities. However, on an international level, Australia also acknowledges and works with the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Within Article 24 speaks on education, in which governments are required to establish individualized support services that are offered in environments that encourage social and academic growth. The importance of inclusive education goes beyond following legal requirements, but also reflects social justice. Studies that show inclusive classrooms benefit the entire learning community, not just the student with disabilities. Not only have students with disabilities benefited from sharing interactive learning environments with their peers without disabilities, but the classroom dynamics have also improved as a result of the diversity. This demonstrates how inclusion promotes empathy and respect between all students, and provides an opportunity for better and more diverse learning environments. This then enables all students to succeed in a diverse society and encourages individual growth. The evolution of inclusive education in Australia. It is important to acknowledge the overall growth of inclusive education in Australia in order to understand why our school needs to reevaluate its utilization of a separate unit. A medical mode of disability that identified the problem within the child led to the historical segregation of children with disabilities into special schools or units. The initial assumption was that in order for children with disabilities to receive an education, they needed specialized settings. The 1994 Salamanca Statement and Framework for Action on Special Needs Education, which established an agreement about the future trajectory of inclusive education for students with disabilities, which was especially significant to the international disabilities education community. This declaration looked to increase the effectiveness of all schools by highlighting inclusion, celebrating individual diversity, and providing appropriate solutions to each learner needs. Even today, as Australia have passed down anti-discrimination laws and created national policies supporting inclusion, access to inclusive education varies between school systems, public or private, jurisdictions, location, and even socioeconomic access. Why we must close the unit? Well, the specialized unit separates Luca apart from his peers, especially his twin brother Giorgio. This limits equal participation in both physical and academia. It restricts access to opportunities and has a negative impact on social, emotional, and cognitive growth. There are numerous reasons as to why we need to close the specialized unit. It is an example of othering. The school subtly conveys that Luca is fundamentally different and less able to engage in mainstream learning by isolating him from his peers, including his twin brother Giorgio. This damages the goal of establishing a community where all students are respected and reinforces the disability stigma and inclusion. Additionally, supporting the concept of a specialized unit displays features of gatekeeping and ableism. Ableism is discrimination and social prejudice towards people with disabilities. Ableism is shared by social attitudes, mindsets, and cultural beliefs. When we believe and enforce the idea that students with low vision and ADHD, like Luca, aren't able to be taught in mainstream education, we reinforce othering and ableist ideas. In closing the unit, we find a way to demolish such barriers and ensure that equitable access and participation for all is provided. Additionally, the specialized unit's existence is essentially in conflict with the equity principle. Each child has a different learning and development path, and in order for them to fully participate in high quality care and education, they may need additional and individualized support. Providing every child the same experience is not what equity involves. Therefore, the school is not providing equal access by separating Luca from his twin brother Giorgio. This separation can have serious social and emotional effects, and studies indicate that it is impacting not only their academic journey, but also the holistic development of students. Stakeholder perspectives. Benefits for Luca. By placing Luca in a mainstream class, his academic and cognitive growth will be supported, and he will have access to mainstream curriculum alongside peers and his brothers. He can make friends, participate in group projects, and feel like he belongs in the class, all of which improves his emotional health and sense of self-worth. In the classroom, differentiated teaching methods promote independence and confidence. The importance of Luca in decisions regarding his educational journey is highlighted by Article 12 of the Convention of the Rights of the Child 1989, which declares that children have the right to say what they think should occur when adults are making decisions that affect their lives, and have their opinions be taken into consideration. This guarantees that he has agency and a voice in his education, and that he gets the assistance he needs in mainstream to effectively participate and connect with his peers. Importance for parents. As lifelong educators of their children, parents have a crucial role in education decision making, advocacy, and supporting their learning at home too. When Luca is relocated from a specialized unit into a mainstream classroom, his parents are able to feel comfortable knowing that their child is receiving the same educational opportunities as their peers and their son Giorgio. The inclusion of Luca in mainstream allows his parents to be more involved in their child's development by collaborating with his teachers to implement strategies that address Luca's specific needs in the classroom and at home. The decision to close a separate unit corresponds with his parents' wishes to promote Luca's potential, independence, and confidence in a mainstream classroom setting. Benefits for teachers. Teachers are key to inclusive education. Teachers are encouraged to use differentiated teaching strategies such as scaffolding, visual aids, and structured routines that meet Luca's needs but also benefit all students by including him in mainstream classrooms. Teachers need to work with parents and other school staff to maximize learning outcomes by sharing information about Luca's progress. Communication and collaboration between the two locations help to keep the support up and link between home and school life. Working with students like Luca develops professional learning from a pedagogical perspective by expanding a teacher's knowledge of differentiation and universal design for learning, as well as opportunity for research-based teaching methods for students with ADHD and low vision. Inclusion also increases teacher competence and career progression by providing opportunities for additional professional development for training such as assistive technology training and developing an inclusive and participatory classroom culture to support different learners. Teachers can actively support an inclusive school culture by including Luca in mainstream classrooms, which improves their own teaching and the school's ability to support all students. Benefits for other students. Every student in the classroom benefits from inclusive education, not just those with disability. Students develop empathy, respect, and awareness for diversity while interacting and working with Luca. According to Gretsch, inclusion also increases learning that takes place in cooperative learning and peer mentoring, as students support one another socially as well as academically. Different styles of learning is developed through interactions with assistive technologies and a range of teaching styles. By developing a strong sense of community in which all students are valued, inclusion then supports them to succeed in a society which promotes social justice, equity, and respect. Strategies for meeting Luca's needs. A crucial part of promoting inclusion is proving that students' practical needs can be satisfied in a mainstream classroom. Because of his limited eyesight and ADHD, Luca needs adjustments that are both realistic and supported by research. Effective strategies for supporting low vision in the classroom. Consider how you can communicate information to students who are unable to see you. Explain what is displayed on PowerPoints and the whiteboard. As calculations are being completed or processes are being performed, go over them with them. Go over any printed material and explain any graphs or charts that are being utilized. Sun or fluorescent lights may glare or impair Luca's eyesight. Therefore, you may need to adjust some features of your classroom. Luca may need to use a personal computer equipped with assistive technology to conduct exams. He might also need other assessment adjustments, including a reader/scribe, audio recorded questions, or big print material. Strategies for supporting Luca with ADHD. Timeout or breaks. Utilizing a timeout or break, this could be a walk or a mindfulness activity such as meditation to realign his thoughts and get him back to focusing. Structured routines, helping him in encouraging better organization. This could be class timetables for the day or to-do lists. Connecting learning, encouraging your students to make connections between the concepts or information being delivered. This could be experiences from themselves or other people. Routines and coordination. Trying to create regular routines and structure, keeping up every morning the same routine or seating plans. Coming up with strategies in coordination with teachers and parents on how to deal with change. For example, if the teacher is away sick or different structure of the day due to assemblies or other calendared events. Concrete learning activities. Educational activities that are more concrete tend to be more effective for students with ADHD. They tend to enjoy the opportunity to learn on their own and often show a high level of creative thinking. The broader implications of inclusive education. So, including Luca isn't just about encouraging and supporting one student, it's that it has an impact across the whole school. Closing the separate unit and seeking full inclusion helps with the development of a school culture in which children's differences are seen as strengths rather than disadvantages. In addition to kids learning the value of empathy, respect, and teamwork, teachers gain confidence in applying strategies to benefit a diverse variety of learners, and parents feel comfortable that their children are genuinely appreciated. Young people are also prepared for life after school, where they will be a part of a variety of communities. Our school makes it very evident that every child belongs here and has the right to study and succeed by opting for inclusion and ending the unit.